Hi, I'm James Paul White, and I have a message that I gave last week. I'm a hospital chaplain. I preached this last weekend, and I just think it's such a timely word that I need to share online. It's called Stones, Sand, and Storms. If you want to open your Bible, you can turn to Matthew 7, and we'll start in verse 24. And this is kind of an abbreviated version, but I think I'm able to get the points across that I need to. Number one, or let's start in verse 24. Anyone who listens to my teaching and follows it is wise, like a person who builds a house on solid rock. Though the rain comes in torrents and the floodwaters rise and the winds beat against that house, it won't collapse because it is built on bedrock. But anyone who hears my teaching and doesn't obey it is foolish, like a person who builds a house on sand. When the rains and the floods come and the winds beat against that house, it will collapse with a mighty crash. You see, there's 4 key points. Number one, the rains and storms of life affect everyone. What kind of storms have you been dealing with lately? Loss of a job, maybe even a foreclosure, lose a house due to a fire or a flood, divorce, strife in your life with other people. Maybe you feel discontented. I can tell you in a very short summary over the last couple of years. In November of 2018, I had a car catch on fire. In January 2019, I lost my job as a prison chaplain because I went in on my off time to go fix something. And they said, well, company policy says you can't work on your off the clock. So I would have gotten in trouble if I had gotten overtime, and I would have gotten in trouble if I had worked off the clock. But I had to fix the problem. So June 2019, I lost my house. I moved here to Kansas City in January of this year. And then not only do I get hit with the pandemic like everybody else, but then my wife leaves me. So it's like one thing after another after another. I know what it feels like when the storms of life come. But Hebrews 12 tells us to do something very important in verse 2, and that is to keep our eyes on Jesus, because he is the author and perfecter of our faith. He is the one that's going to carry us through those tough times. And over the last 2 years, I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that he has been there for me every step of the way. And he'll be there for you too. Now, my second point, how do you build your house on the rock? Well, the first thing you've got to do is thank God for what he's done in your life. Psalm 100 verse 4 says, I will enter his gates with thanksgiving in my heart. I will enter his courts with praise. Thank God for what he's done in your life. Don't just focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have. The second thing you can do is you can thank God for the people that he has put in your life. Ephesians 4, the Bible tells us that God puts leaders in our life to teach us and to train us and to build us up so that we can do ministry. The third thing you can do is you recognize how temporary problems really are. I mean, in reality, 100 years compared to eternity is like a drop in the bucket. Whether our car breaks down or our spouse leaves us or we lose our job. Go over to 2 Corinthians 4 really quick. Starting in verse 16, it says, that is why we never give up. Though our bodies are dying, our spirits are being renewed every day. For our present troubles are small and they won't last long, yet they produce for us a glory that vastly outweighs them and will last forever. So we don't look at troubles we can see now, rather we fix our gaze on things that cannot be seen, for the things we see now will soon be gone, but the things we cannot see will last forever. We've got to keep our focus on Jesus. In the Great Commission, he says that he's always with us. He promised to be with us until the end of the age. Read the end of Matthew 28. He said, and I will be with you until the end of the age. He promised his presence to be with us. Now, how do you build your house on the sand? Well, you don't thank God for what you have. You don't thank God for the people that have influenced you. You try to claim that you did everything yourself. Focus on your problems and act like that we're all that is. That's called humanism, folks. And that's not going to get you through today's problems. Now, how do we do what's right? Look over in 1 Peter 1. The way you do it is to guard your mind. It says here, so prepare your minds for action and exercise self-control. Put all your hope in the gracious salvation that will come to you when Jesus Christ is revealed to the world. We're on the winning team. Jesus is going to come back. Stop trying to run the rat race and try to solve all your problems. We're going to get through this. We just got to focus on where we're at right now. Focus on today and trust Him for the future. So, like I said, that's a very abbreviated version of what I wanted to share. But I can tell you from my own experience that I've gotten through some really tough times over the last 2 years. And I did it by trusting in God. God is the one that got me through this. And God's going to continue to get me through this. So, maybe if I have an opportunity to come to your church and speak, I can give you the extended version of that. So we'll see what happens. God willing, one day I'll be traveling and teaching. So until then, I've got this platform, and I'm grateful for the people that watch. So I love you. Have a great week. And like I said, God's going to get you through this.